It is Lee Company, Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson. We want your reaction. Titans lose 19-16 in overtime to the Houston Texans. Man, that was a tough one. 615-737-1045. If you're leaving the stadium, hanging out, waiting for traffic to die down at home, I don't know what you're doing, but we are here. 615-737-1045. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Again, Brent Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson. Jackson is producing today, and we are ready for your reaction. 615-737-1045. Titans led 13-0 early in the second quarter. From then on, Texans 19, Titans 3. Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. That guarantees a second straight losing season and kiss the playoffs goodbye.
That's it.
Hey, KD, how are you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, kind of a microcosm of the year. Just inconsistent play, especially up front on the offense side of the ball. Makes it hard to be consistent on offense. Inability to get stops on defense when you needed them the most. I think we have seen, and even in parts of this game, you see glimpses of potential greatness for the future. But this year, for whatever reason, they just can't string consistency back to back together. Unfortunately, but there's always cause for hope. You see some beauty in the game and what they'll be able to do going forward. They definitely got to address, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but we definitely got to address some of the offensive line needs. You're shorthanded.
7 sacks. Seriously?
Sacks. Can't run the football. Derrick Henry, 9 yards rushing. That's obviously the big item. They're shorthanded on defense, no Big Jeff and things of that nature. But same thing could be said about Houston. They were shorthanded a little bit today.
Yep, they were a whole lot. They didn't have their quarterback, who is the rookie of the year.
Looking at closing in on potentially being in a conversation for MVP.
Definitely.
And
Case Keenum.
And found a way to win.
Case Keenum beat him.
Found a way to win. I was talking to Coach Mack before the game, and he said he just has that Gardner Minshew ability about him. He's just a guy who's going to grind you out, find a way to win. He's not something you can sleep on. He's not just a slack backup quarterback in the National Football League. He's a guy that has made it and been around for a long time for a reason. And this is one of those reasons. You have your scratch your temple type moments with him, but he's also a guy that's a gamer, is going to find ways to make plays and win football games. And he did. He kept his team hanging around, and lo and behold, gets an overtime win.
19-16 the final. You want to go to the phones real quick?
I think we should.
Just jump right in.
I'm sure people, what we got, fired offense coordinator, fire Brable.
It's all coming.
All coming.
How about Kevin Dyson, legend of the game today?
We might get a couple of those. I don't know.
How cool was that, though? Like, game aside, how cool was that for you as a former Titan?
Man, interestingly enough, I was asked to be the legend of the game before the passing of my friend. And it was almost poetic justice that I was the one being able to have the final send-off for Frank, today being Frank's day. And, you tell people, they Google his name and my picture pops up alongside of it. And so I'm always going to be associated with that man. And to be able to kind of give him a one farewell in what I'm calling now Philadelphia Coliseum, because that's what it was when we started this thing, and get one last time to root for the man in the heavens, man. And that was a special moment for me. And then later on in the week, they asked me to join Eddie and Zach as a 12th man, as a tribute as well. And obviously I didn't want to pass the opportunity either up. So, just to be able to pay homage to a fallen teammate. And, a lot of people don't realize we've lost 4 teammates and a general manager from that team, the one who put us all together, and Floyd Reese, from that roster so far in 20-something years. And everybody being young in a lot of respects. Frank was only 52 years old. Everybody else was a little bit younger. So, and it was a special moment for me by far.
For those that didn't hear, make sure you download the podcast from all the shows on 104.5 The Zone, and particularly in this instance, 3HL. Kevin Dyson on the show on was that Thursday?
Yeah. Wait, something like that, or Tuesday? Thursday?
Tuesday. I think it was
Tuesday.
You have beautiful words.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That resonated with a lot of people, and the messages were unbelievable because you talked about losing Frank on a bigger sense and people dealing with things in life, and And we have a full understanding that a lot of y'all are dealing with a lot of things, like all of us are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all in this together, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a journey that we're all on individually and together, and we're here. You know what I mean?
And we smile through the day, we cry through the day, and we just try to make it through the day. And then if you're fortunate enough to make it to the next day, if you're fortunate enough to make it to tomorrow, man, you just try it all over again. And we've been saying it, and I was fortunate to give Frank his flowers, let him know what he meant to me years ago before he kind of was declining. But how many people that I haven't, and I'm just being real with you. That's what I've been doing ever since. Fred Graves, Ron McBride, Steve Smith, my brothers, like Eddie, people I just been reaching out to and telling my love, and I appreciate them for what they have done for me in my life, and just didn't want them to, time to go by where I missed that opportunity because tomorrow's not promised.
I love that. I'm real big on that too because. As
Jeff
you said,
Fisher, I got to see. So.
As you said, I could have a heart attack in an hour, and I just want to make sure that everyone that I love knows that I love them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do the same thing. I just text people randomly and tell them I love them.
That's it, man. And like I told y'all on the show, even if you don't get a response back, I'm okay with that. Even if I get that generic, I'm good.
You can't control that part.
I'm good.
All you can control is what you do and how you behave. And
that's it.
615-737-1045. All right, your reaction, and then we'll work our thoughts throughout the show kind of seamlessly, ideally. We're with you until 6:30, walking you up to Sunday Night Football. 615-737-1045. Willie Joe in Waynesboro, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Yo.
I just wanted to call in, and I called in about 4 weeks ago, and I said give a few holiday tips for Amy, and one of them was get a health insurance plan for Will Levis. I hope she listened because he got killed today. I mean, he just had no time. And my second point is I've cheered for Derrick Henry a lot of years since 2017 or 16, whenever he got here. He was a great back for the Titans, but his time is up. He can't make a cut and get up the field. Tajay Spears, they get him one carry in the first half. He goes for 11. Same kind of carry they were giving Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry couldn't even get out of the backfield. He can't make cuts. Every cut's rounded, and it's just time. I mean, we got to put Tajay Spears in the game and maybe bring Derrick Henry in on the one because that's about what he's good at. But in between the one and the other one, we need Tajay Spears in the game because he's a better playmaker, and that's just what I think. But happy holidays in Waynesboro. I hope she listened to my tip because she really needs to get a great plan for Will Levis because he's going to get killed.
Thank you, man.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate the happy holidays for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, we will be on Christmas Eve after the game.
Yeah,
so
Merry
we'll
Christmas.
Have plenty of time to tell you happy holidays then.
I guess my only thing to that is I don't know where the surprise is. Derrick Henry has never been a lateral guy. He's always been north to south. He's never really been that make you miss as far as like jump stop, jump cuts. I mean, things of that nature. He's always kind of been get my foot down and use my speed to my advantage, speed and size to my advantage. So with that being said, I'm not saying anything negative about that call because I agree with him. That shows you where we are with this offensive line at the present time of what Derrick Henry is capable of doing. And they got to work hand in hand in gelling. So there might be a little more continuity with a smaller, more shiftier Spears because he can make some of those jump cuts and be more elusive at the point of attack than maybe Derrick Henry is. So, it just, to me, it just puts a bigger – spotlight on the ineffective played offensive line in a lot of respects because Derrick Henry is still what he has been. He may not be as explosive as he was a few years ago and maybe not have as much of a crisp as he talked about cuts, but he's always kind of been north and south guy to me.
Yeah, feels like he's on the decline to me, though.
Running back.
Which makes sense. I mean,
it's
over 30.
It's a shelf life, man. And
outside of
the tread on the tires.
Outside of Mostert. But Mostert's point as a 31-yard 31-year-old running back for Miami is that he didn't get any carries for like 5 or 6 years. So
he doesn't have the wear and tear, the bang on the body.
I do have a stat to kind of combat what he's saying in just a second, but I do want to let you know the Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Stat on Derrick Henry coming into this game, 50% of Derrick Henry's runs, he gets hit at the line or behind it. So 50%.
And how are you supposed to be effective with that?
That's fourth in the NFL.
Yeah.
So fourth in the NFL, yet he was third in the NFL in rushing coming into today.
Mm-hmm.
So me saying, okay, it looks like he's on the decline, but he's still productive.
And again, if I'm getting hit at the line of scrimmage.
When he's getting holes.
He's getting hit at the line of scrimmage. It's hard for any back. I don't care if it's Eddie. I don't pick one. Emmett, Barry Sanders.
That's a tough stat.
50%. It's hard
at
to
the
be
line or
effective.
behind.
Yeah. And I'm not excusing anybody's play, but I'm saying it's hard to be productive when you're getting hit before you can get rolling. And we all know once he gets rolling, he's hard to tackle.
Let me ask you a question. Are you surprised that they don't do more outside zone runs with him?
Yes, I am.
Because that's where it looks like he can kind of float outside and then, bam, put his foot in the ground.
Put his foot in the ground. Stretch him out, and then put your foot in the ground.
Between the tackles, not working.
That's not the game right now.
That's not his game.
That's
either.
not the team's game right now. You might say Spears maybe hit the mesh point a little faster than Derrick Henry right now. Obviously, I think that's the argument. But I've never really thought that was Derrick Henry's game anyway. I've always kind of thought he was a stretch and utilize his speed to his advantage. He was kind of a small, big back. He can hide behind his pads at times, but he's so fast. He's always been so fast. He kind of ran, quote unquote, like a little back in that regard because of his speed and his ability. But right now, the point of attack, they're not winning that battle. So any back, name one. We can name the best backs in the National Football League today. They would struggle the same way you're saying that Derrick Henry is struggling.
Another stat for you. Will Levis, he was talking about Will Levis getting pounded. Obviously got bent backwards like a pretzel. It looks like it's okay. In the moment, they didn't even show – they said we're not showing the replay on the television copy.
Sound like if you hear that, you're thinking like dislocation, broken, something.
Something.
Yeah.
Well, he jogs out the field. He's walking on the sideline, and then he does the post-game presser. So maybe he's
That's
okay.
Good news.
Mike Keith mentioned it was an ankle, and ankles, like the next day are worse than right now, but we'll see.
He's going to feel that one tomorrow.
So he had 26 pass attempts. Dice. He was sacked 7 times, so that's 33 dropbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He ran the ball 4 times, so that's 37 dropbacks. He was sacked 7 times. He was sacked on 19% of his dropbacks today. Gosh. I'm not even talking about quarterback hits.
I was just about to say, and then you add in that aspect of it. You see Q hits. I mean, we got 11. Dang. Is he in the cold tub right now? I guess we need to get a locker room report. Is he in the cold tub right now?
All right, so either sacked or hit. We're going to do that math. Is that what we're doing?
18.
18 divided by 37 is 49% of his dropbacks. He was hit or sacked.
God. That joker is sore.
But, how do you complete 17 balls? How are you not just constantly looking around you and worry? He doesn't, though. He doesn't look at the rush.
No. He's young.
He manipulates the pocket pretty well.
He's young, and he doesn't know any better just yet. That's why when you see them, them veteran quarterbacks, they start seeing them phantom sacks after a while because they don't want to get hit. You know, and you talked about it a few weeks ago.
I've talked about that with Tannehill a few years ago.
Yeah, he's young and dumb right now. That's what it is.
615-737-1045. Austin and Nashville.
I should say dumb. He's an intelligent.
No. It's just a saying. It's just a saying. What's up, Austin?
Hey, yeah, guys. First of all, love you guys. Just want to send out thoughts and prayers to Frank's family and friends.
Yes.
Obviously a legend. I think, obviously, the biggest problem with this team is the offensive line. To the caller about Derrick Henry earlier, I'd be really curious to look at when Derrick Henry's on the field as a running back compared to Tajay Spears, what kind of defensive front we're seeing. I'm sure it's different because Tajay's got the whole receiving threat going, smaller back. But the biggest thing in the game for me, obviously, O-line was bad. That pass interference call was horrible. I watched that a couple times on replay. I think it was Trey Avery. That was absolutely horrible. And then to follow that up, the whole missed unsportsmanlike conduct or whatever it was, the punt return where the guy was knocked out of bounds. Two pretty big calls that I think influenced the game.
Yeah, that would have given the Titans the ball on the 46-yard line.
Exactly. So not trying to make an excuse, but, I mean, Trey Avery made a hell of a play and gets penalized like that. Just really tough scene. So love you guys. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. To the different fronts and looks. And I maybe I'll do a better job of paying attention to this next week, but I've always paid attention to what Derrick Henry has got, especially in the last 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. What you're starting to see with him was, we call it an odd front, but you can call it what you want to. Basically, they go hat for hat. And they want to see if your 5 linemen can block what 5 that we bring in the run game or pass game, and they don't believe your 5 are better than our 5. We believe we got a matchup problem somewhere, and if we pick right in that battle, we're going to be able to get to Derrick Henry. And if it's a passing game, get back to Will Levis or Tandy, whoever's back there. And that's kind of how people have played the Titans of recent that I had been paying attention, but I hadn't paid attention enough to see if Spears is in there, if they're getting similar looks, meaning they're covering up all the linemen and telling me you can't block nobody and linebackers are coming free. I hadn't been paying attention enough to when he's in there, but it is a little bit different of a feel.
Yeah,
it is when he's there. He just got a little bit more burst to him to the line of scrimmage, whereas Derrick Henry is kind of more of a feel runner and things of that nature. So I don't know. I mean, I'll pay attention to that a little bit next week and see if you are getting different fronts. But also formations dictate fronts too. So if Tajay's in, it's usually in 11 personnel where you got 3 receivers, a tight end, and that changes the front a lot of times.
One tight end, one run back.
Yeah, that changes a lot of times. And then if it's 10 personnel, 4 wides, no tight end, and just him, that also changes and dictates the front. So it's there's a lot of different factors go in there. When Derrick Henry is typically in there, we're talking a tight end, another back. He's very rarely in there with 3 receiver sets. So yeah, so that could be a difference too, where you try to spread teams out a little bit more.
So for people that don't know, when you say 10 personnel, the first number is the amount of running backs. Mm-hmm. The next number is the amount of tight ends. So 10 personnel is 1 running back, 0 tight ends. 21 personnel, for example, is 2 running backs, 1 tight end. 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end. And that tells you how many receivers, too, without even having to think about it. Yeah. 615-737-1045. Jacob in the borough. Jacob, what's up?
Hey, guys.
Yo.
Well, first off, a lot of Spears' success has to do with him being a change-up to Henry. So he's not as good without Henry.
Yeah.
Second, so I know the whole team has issues. The offensive line is suspect. We're just not a playoff team this year. Nope. But the coaches are not doing anything on the offensive play calling side to combat that. I know we talk about we have to force the run to protect Levis. No, you need to call a balanced game to protect Levis. If you continue putting them in predictable passing situations, they are going to tee the heck off. Misdirection, wide receiver screens, fades, 2-step and hitch. Incompletions, okay, but at least it's keeping them honest and on their heels a little bit. And when Vrabel continues to run Henry just because he's on payroll, it's just malpractice, and I can't stand how he lets time run down at the end of halves, fourth quarter, even overtime, without calling timeouts to get his offense the ball back in a chance. Mm. It's malpractice. He could be good if he changes those few things. All right, thanks.
Thank you, brother. 615-737-1045. I can assure you they're not giving Derrick Henry the ball because he's on the payroll. I promise. No. They're trying to win games.
They are still trying to win football games.
They're trying to do whatever they can in their minds to win football games. Mm-hmm. Now, we can all disagree on what's the best way to go about that. That's fine. But nobody's just giving people the ball because they're on the payroll.
Yeah.
And sports is the greatest meritocracy that there is. Like, it's all based on merit. If you don't give them anything, they
move on.
So they'll look at this tape and they'll be like, okay, was this Derrick Henry? Was this the fact that the offensive line provided no gaps or holes or anything like that? Then, but this is back-to-back games.
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry in the last 2 games, 33 carries, 43 yards. That's 0.7 yards per carry. That's not good. That's not acceptable.
That's not
that's a bad football team.
Yeah.
And that's where you are. You're 5-9, and you guaranteed yourself your second losing season in a row. That's where they are. Coming off that Miami win.
And that's what I was saying, like the whole peaks and valleys roller coaster ride. Like you can look phenomenal in a 3-minute stretch of time. And people forget this game. We're talking about the last portion of this game, obviously, in the overtime. But that first half, or especially the first quarter, would you have thought the outcome was going to be this? You thought they were about to just run through them.
Yep.
Like they were
13-0 early in the second quarter.
Dominating. Defense was dominant. Offense was doing enough. Treylon Burks was involved. How about that? He finally got some targets and got involved early, made some good catches.
3 for 62 for Treylon Burks.
I mean, you just thought, okay, here's this thing is rolling. That's the only thing was missing was getting D-Hop involved. And I was like, okay, we get him involved, and we might have something. And then it just seems like I don't know where the disconnect happened. I don't know. He started getting some sacks, started getting some costly penalties. That also some untimely penalties. Gave up a few plays here and there, especially there at the end of the game. There was a couple of things that you hadn't been doing or had missed the extra point, like different things that
missed extra point was huge.
Yeah, that adds up and costs you games.
Houston would have had to chase score.
Yeah.
Had that extra point gone through.
Yep.
And you're sitting there at 16-16. You missed an extra point.
Instead of 17-16.
Right. They would have had to go for two on their touchdown.
Yep.
Houston ran the ball 32 for 148, and it seemingly at will, which really was frustrating.
Least, especially late in the game,
Yeah. 615-737-1045. Jordan in Springfield. Jordan, what's up?
Hey, guys, just letting you know it's not Henry, it's the line. They'll get it fixed. Will Levis is fine. He's faking them out for next Sunday. Titans are going to win out and be in a fourth-place tie at 8-9 for first place in the division and miss the playoffs and get a lottery pick. Also, guys, happy holidays. Tim Kelly's going to be demoted. Arthur Smith, when he gets fired, will be the OC next year. Stay away from the poltergeist, party foul, chicken tenders. Happy holidays.
There's a whole lot there.
The
party foul chicken tenders are awesome. Number one. Number two, poltergeist is the hottest. So yeah, stay away from that. Maybe I don't know.
You talk about bubble guts is what he's talking about. Have your insides tore up. Keep on messing with that stuff.
Well, I mean, for the Titans to get into a first place tie in the AFC, Jacksonville's got to lose 2 games or 3? I'm trying to pull it up right now.
They won the other day, right?
They play Baltimore tonight. So the thought was if the Titans could take out the Texans, who were without C.J. Stroud,
yeah,
you're playing Case Keenum for crying out loud. He hadn't taken a snap this year.
Yeah.
He took 2 snaps. He threw 2 balls last year.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't thrown more than 2 passes in a season. You got to go back 3 years, and that dude just walked out there and beat you.
But like Coach Mack said, he's got a lot of that Gardner Minshew in you. He's very capable. That's why he's been around the league for long.
For Jacksonville to finish 8-9, they got to lose all 4. So Ravens tonight, which they're an underdog, at Tampa, Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They're winning that one at home.
Yep.
And then at Tennessee, which you can do something about.
Yep.
Tough road to hoe. The Titans are not out of the playoffs per se, but
pretty much.
I mean, you need a whole lot to go down.
Obviously, the first order of business is win them all, and that's going to be hard.
It is,
especially with injuries and things of that nature.
Seattle at home, at Houston, Jacksonville at home. Those are the next 3. Those are the last 3. All right, more of your phone calls. Lines are loaded. We appreciate that. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. More of your reaction next on Lee Company. Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back in Titans Talkback, presented by Lee Company. If you want it, 615-737-1045. We do have some clarity on the playoff thing. Done. Eliminated.
It's a wrap.
2 years in a row, gone.
Hope is gone. Just that quick.
Do you pull Levis now?
No. You got to get him the reps.
Okay.
He's got to get the reps.
Yeah, but, 7 sacks and hit 11 times. Ugh.
God forbid it's something season-ending that happens to him over the next little bit. Let's 3-4 games. But 3 games left?
3 games left.
3 games left. But he's got to get the reps.
By the way, all my gambling people told me Bills today. They're up 21-3.
Did you not put the money on the Bills?
I did.
I was about to say.
I did. And it's hard for me because as a kid growing up in Nashville, you were either a Cowboys or a Steelers fan. That's how all non-NFL markets were back then because you got both of those teams every week. So you chose one.
Yeah, I was a Cowboys fan. I did the same thing.
Yeah, so it's hard to bet against them for me, but if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. We're talking about money, not emotions.
And the money's on the Bills right now. 21-3.
21-3, and the Cowboys are punting with 34 seconds left, so it looks like that's going to be the halftime score.
Buffalo, evening game, middle December.
Yep. So the Titans completely eliminated 100% from the playoffs. Thank you, Lucas Panzica, for passing that along. Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Your reaction, 615-737-1045. Hats off real quick to Danico Autry. 2 sacks today. That gives him 11 on the season. That is a career high. And that is a guy that is in a contract year 2, I believe. I'll have to go check that, but I think that's true. And is playing his butt off.
And in light of
a bad team
being without Big Jeff again.
We saw that in the between the tackles run game for the Texans.
Exactly.
Singletary up over 120 yards today. I think 126.
If somebody shows you their value without playing, show me your value without playing a game. That's Big Jeff right there.
For sure.
For Autry, though, man, this business is short-lived. You have a small winter opportunity. You got to get what you can while you can. And being in a contract year, having a somewhat of a career year, man, he's got to get what he can get while he's still productive and have an opportunity. Because as we've seen and talked about, how soon they forget. And, Derrick Henry got his money a few years ago, and now people are talking about shipping him off to the pasture and moving on. And for Autry, man, if you're going to have a double-digit sack year and in your contract year, you've shown your worth. I think you got to get paid.
615-737-1045. Tennessee and Nashville. Tennessee, what's up?
Tennessee.
Hey, man. What's up?
What's up, man?
So, anyway, I missed the last half. What I'm going to say is, I missed the last half. I went to the church and do all that. But what the heck happened? I would like y'all to explain. I'm in now, so.
They were up 13-0 and early in the second quarter. From then on through the rest of the second quarter, which is most of it, it was like 13-56 they took that lead.
And they only had
third, fourth, and overtime. 3 points. That was it.
And right at 100 yards total offense from that point on.
Yeah, 45 yards, I think, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And, it was pretty bleak offensive production.
And the defense, just texting with people, somebody was like, well, the defense cost them. I'm like, well, they gave up 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
You give up 1 touchdown in the NFL, you should win.
Well, and you look at their drives, second half offense, at some point, I've said this before in the show, at some point the levee's going to break in this league that's built for offense. They want points on the board, so the rules are stacked against the defense anyway. And if the defense was doing their part for the most part till late, they gave up some big plays, some splash plays. They couldn't stop the run when needed to. But at the end of it, though, I don't want to make excuse for them completely, but how much can they take? They have been on the field pretty much the whole second half. No love from the offense. They couldn't even sustain a drive to help them out, even if they didn't score.
Skoronski gave up 2 sacks I saw.
Mm-hmm. And he might be the only one that gets a pass just because he's young.
Right. Rookie left tackle, same deal.
Yeah,
gave up
same
2
deal.
sacks
Gave it
in
to both of them.
overtime. Both of them in overtime.
Yeah.
Might have given up another one. I don't know. 615-737-1045. Maxwell in Kentucky. Maxwell, what's up? Maxwell. Yo.
Yo.
Maxwell's gone. Blake in Hendersonville. Blake, what's up?
Oh, what is up?
Yo, man.
The commercial lead-in says, find a doctor who listens. And by the way, we have one with Dr. Dyson. Thank you, Brent. And Dr. Dyson, I'm a long-time listener. I got a lot of information in 12 seconds, by the way. We had 112 offense in the first quarter, almost 80 in the first drive. We had 80 yards in the whole second half, 45 in the fourth quarter. You just said it. We had 56 offense plays, boys, 30 runs for only 66 yards. What are we doing? Only 26 of those passes for 200 yards with the Ferrari and Will Levis. You're putting our boys, Peter Skoronski, and our left tackle, a six-rounder, on second and third and chains. Do you honestly expect a left tackle, a six-rounder, to block second and third and chains? No, you get your quarterback hurt after that. He's on the ground at the end of the game. What do you expect? What was the down and distance? Third and long at the end of the game. Come on. Call some better offense, man. Like, what are we doing out here? It's 2 years of this. It's the two coordinators, two GMs, two quarterbacks, same offense. What are we doing, boys? Let's go.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Is that true? 80 yards on the first drive and 80 yards in the second half?
It was something crazy like that, yeah.
We keep seeing games like that where the outside of the Miami game, that was kind of an outlier, but second half offense has been offensive.
Yeah. And again, to that caller's point, we've had multiple coordinators, but I think the trend has been, and to the first caller's point, of Derrick Henry. Well, the offensive line has struggled. So what's the counter offense to that? Well, we thought it was, they did some things in flash fakes and play action, if you will, got the ball upfield a few times, moved the chains, went down there methodically. And then it just was womp. And you saw like all the negative plays on first down, and we're behind the chains for the vast majority of this game. And that makes it hard on anybody. That makes even a mediocre defense. I'm not saying Houston defense is mediocre by any means, but it would make a mediocre defense look very, 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 very strong and formidable if you can't even run the football, and they couldn't run the football today.
615-737-1045. Dave in Nashville. Dave, you're on Titans Talkback. What's up?
Hey, man, thanks for taking my call. I just had something to comment about, and it's just obvious. That offensive line is horrible. I don't know what they're doing in Tennessee. It's gotten two quarterbacks hurt. We hope Levis is okay. I mean, what's the plan? If they're planning on Levis being the future, they got to protect the future. I'm like this, guys. If it was me, if I was aiming right now, I'd be firing that whole offensive line. I'd be firing my training coach because he can't keep them healthy out there. I mean, it's pitiful. It is absolute. Play for the rest of the season. You're going to get him killed. Let Tannehill play out the rest of his contract, draft you some offensive talent in there, get you a center, get you a right tackle, get you some help. You got $100 million next year. Do something with it to build your football offensive team, and please get rid of all of those cornerbacks that get beat. I mean, it is just atrocious. This team needs so much work. No, I don't want them to win the rest of the season. I want them to get draft picks. Amy needs to get more involved, and she needs to tell those players, tell those coaches out there to really, really dig deep and get some talent on that offensive line. Thanks, guys. Tighten up.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, Will Levis has been sacked now 27 times in 8 games. 27 times in 8 games. You know where that ranks him? 17th in the NFL against quarterbacks that have played 14 games.
Yeah. And so, and let me say this, though.
If you add that up in a 16-game season, that's 54, right? Yeah. Well, it's a 17-game season, so you can add a few more. The leader is Sam Howell right now at 58.
58. And I'll say this. There's been times it was on him holding on the ball too long. So that's my giving the offensive line a pass. He said that
after the game, too, to be fair to Levis. He said, I sacked myself a couple of times today.
Right. So that's giving somewhat of a pass to the offensive line on some of that. And then a lot of it is just got to get better. It's got two young guys in there who are improving. It will get better. And there's other guys that have been there in and out, been moved around, left side, right side, middle, inside, out. They've been everywhere that just have not found consistency. However, with that being said, as inconsistent as the offensive line has been, you do not take out a rookie quarterback that you just gave the keys to the car. You can't. He needs the reps. Now, I get it, but you don't want him to get hit and all the things. No, of course you don't. I don't care if he's a 10-year perennial all-star veteran. You don't want him to get hit, especially the quarterback. But at the same time, the only way he's going to be to get through this experience is playing. There's a throw he threw today to D-Hop, running across, and he had him, and he threw the pick. That's one of the things from an experience standpoint would tell him something's not right. I need to check down or throw it away or something to that
You
effect.
almost need things like that to happen?
Almost. And
for him to grow?
You don't want it to happen, but as soon as he did it, you saw it, and you're like, I knew better. You know what I mean? And so, but that's experience. Now, you want to win. Don't get me wrong. Very well now put in there thinking, let's get him some experience so we can win later. No, they still think he's the guy that gives them the best chance to win games, but he's got to go through some of these lumps, these sacks, and understand I can't hold the ball a little longer. Understand my left tackle is struggling against this right side defensive end. Understand my left guard or my right guard is struggling against this 1 or 2 or 3 technique. And he understanding, okay, I got to dump this off. Understand where my checkoffs are. Understand where my hot reads are. Understand when to take shots. Understand the different types of throws when you throw vertical. Understand giving a guy an opportunity to run underneath that deep ball. You complete that, we're talking about a whole different type of game too. So he's got to learn and get through this process and get to the experience as well.
More Titans Talkback coming up. Brent Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson, Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Want your opinion? Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. They are officially out of the playoffs. They are guaranteed their second consecutive losing season. 615-737-1045. Titans Talkback, presented by Lee Company, Brent, Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson. Seattle Seahawks coming up. They play the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. They've lost 4 in a row to get to 6-7.
Yeah.
So where are you as a player, Dr. Dyson? If you know you no longer have a shot at the playoffs, you've got 3 games to go, second straight losing season, how hard is that as a player? You worked so hard in the offseason not to be in this position.
Right, and you're so optimistic at the beginning of the year.
Super Bowl is the goal for everybody.
Everybody. And, injuries aside, everybody has a chance, right? Just got to get hot at the right time, matchups align right, things of that nature. It's hard, man, because that's ultimate dream. And you play a kid sport for a king's ransom. Mm-hmm. You want the accolades, Pro Bowl acknowledgments, because that means more potential financial stability. But ultimately, every person that suits up on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays and now Saturdays and things, whatever's going on, the ultimate goal is to be the one at the end of the year holding that trophy. That's the ultimate dream, is to be Super Bowl champion. Man, I cannot describe the feeling of coming out that huddle or out that tunnel at the beginning of a Super Bowl, man. There's nothing like it. It's so surreal. It's the most phenomenal feeling that you can have as an athlete at the pinnacle of your sport. And it's the most watched game other than the World Cup, which I don't know if it's surpassed the World Cup yet, but other than the World Cup, is the most watched sporting event in the world, and you're there and you're in it. And that
most watched TV show in America, for
right,
sure.
Come on, man.
Every year.
And to not have an opportunity to play, man, and now you're just playing for pride. Pride and opportunity. And those opportunities are, well, if I get re-signed here, re-signed somewhere else, I'm in contract year, I got to continue to ball. I want to be a starter. Like, those things become more up on your to-do list as opposed to whatever it takes to make to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl.
If you're the Titans at this point, do you tell Big Jeff, for example, just shut it down, man?
Yes and no. I don't know how
you can make a case for it, for sure.
Like, especially because he's going to be around for a few years. Mm-hmm. Yes, I can see where there is a situation where they put him on one of those lists, whatever it is.
But not Levis. If Levis can go, he's playing.
I think you got to play him. I just think he needs the experience.
Yep, 615-737-1045. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Some positives today. Elijah Molden, with his first interception of the season, goes for a pick six. That made it 13-0.
I saw his dad posted it. His dad gave me hell in college.
Alex Molden?
Yeah.
From Oregon.
Yeah, I played against him a couple times at Utah. He was older than me. He learned me real fast, though.
That's funny. You hit me with that. I didn't anticipate that, but I'm glad I was right. There you go. Danico Autry with 2 sacks, a career-high 11 on the season. Congrats to him. Edmonds had one. Davidson had one. We'll get to that in just a little bit. And then the 89 decal for Frank Wychuck looks smooth on the back of the helmet.
Them helmets look sweet anyway.
Frankie.
Them helmets, they look so sweet.
Oh,
anyway.
my gosh.
I love those.
Wouldn't you have loved to have put that uniform on?
Oh, it's so cool.
I know you had the throwback Oiler, but it was different.
We wore white all 16, 20 games, so 4 preseason games. We wore white all 20 games that year.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because the home team gets to determine, and then you go on the road. Every team was wearing dark colors that year, so we wore white every game. I never got to wear the blues.
Now that you say that, I remember Fish saying something about, like, in the hot weather he wanted to wear white. Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah.
For sure. Also, the legend of the game, one Kevin Dyson.
Yeah. That was
how cool was that?
It was cool. It was surreal, man. A
lot of old heads in the house.
A lot of old heads. Billy White Shoes Johnson going
in the Ring of Honor at halftime. That was cool.
Earl Campbell's in there. Eddie was there. Blaine was there. I mean, it was just, like I said, I got asked to do that prior to learning of Frank's death, and I thought about it a couple times about turning it down, and I kind of like being in the background a little bit. I'm like being up front like that, but it wasn't about me at that moment. It was about sharing a moment with his family. His kids were in the suite with us. His grandkids, just watching the game, sharing stories with them. Remember when they were little, coming to camp and all the kind of things, and so it was about that one last roar for Frank, man. And so I'm humbled, man, for them to actually, well, they picked me prior to, but to still be the one to get to kind of had that last roar for Frank, share that with him and his family and everybody in the stands, man. That was fun. Humbling.
We've done so many events together where we walk through the Music City Miracle and things like that. And you've always kind of said, like, hey, man, I just caught the ball and ran. I mean, but so the three of you will always go down in history in this town with you and Frank Wycheck and Lorenzo Neal.
You know, it's crazy. We've only the three of us together, and I don't think we've ever done it with Alan Lowry or Jeff, but the three of us together have only shared that story together 3 times.
That's amazing.
And
I know one was at Sports Fest. We did an event.
And that's the last time, and that's what breaks my heart.
That was a while ago too.
Yeah, and we'll never get the opportunity to share it again, because every time we did, because we've gotten better at saying the same story over and over, that we start thinking about other ways to share it, and we think about other details. I learn something new each time I do it with them.
That's why I keep asking people about it. So we had Jeff Fisher on the other day to kind of eulogize Frank. And so obviously we talked about that play and how he and Alan Lowry came up with that play, and he kind of walked us through it. And then he said, you know, as you all know, that Dice wasn't supposed to be on the field for that thing. And he said, I just started looking for Dice. Like, where's Dice? And he said, make sure you're outside the numbers. and he kind of walked through that. And then he said, what people don't realize is, and I had never heard him talk about this. He said, obviously, we should have gone for 2 to try to get up 7, but in the chaos and the commotion, he said, I didn't think we could get a play off.
I've never heard that either. Now that makes sense, right?
Right? And so he goes, we kicked the extra point, and then we kick off and they run it. He goes, do y'all remember what happened? And I'm like, no. I go, as a matter of fact, most people don't think that play ended the game.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, we had to kick it off, and they ran it past the 50.
They sure did. They sure did.
And he's thinking about, like, that 2-point play. I really should have had something there.
I didn't even think of that, man. But that's true.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
he goes,
crazy.
it was just so nuts on the sideline. There was no way we were going to get a playoff.
Yeah.
And we were going to get a penalty. And so I'd never thought about that
and
before.
Another person, he was one person I had to give his flowers to and reach out to, was Isaac Bird, who was another person in that moment in a position unfamiliar to him. And he slid over to a position he wasn't familiar. And you saw when that ball blooped up, he got out of position. He is actually the person that was supposed to catch the lateral.
Kick. Yep.
Yeah, not me.
Yep.
And he got out of position. I just happened to be as Coach always says, sometimes a football player has to be a football player and forget how the play is drawn up or how I've told you how to do this. You just, in that moment, use your instincts. And I used my instincts, and I stepped back and there the ball and caught it. And my job was easy. I just ran.
So basically, Frank was just going to throw it to a spot.
He just threw it right down the line.
Because he didn't look at you before he threw it.
You know, I wish he was here. God bless you, man. Because there's no way he knew that was me. He don't know who was over there. He just
saw a uniform.
Yes, he just threw it.
Yeah.
He just threw it.
Because if you go back and watch it, it's not he gets the handoff from Low Neal, and his back is to you.
To me.
And he starts the motion of throwing as he's turning toward you.
Yeah.
There's no way
he don't know. He don't know. Only thing he knew is he looked up, and I'm running down the sideline. And it was just, man.
So Jeff said, I said, did you know it was a lateral, or were you nervous about it? And he said, coaches look for various things on plays. And he goes, I happened to look across the field at the line judge, and he called him by name.
Yeah.
Because you know how coaches are.
Yeah.
They remember all that stuff. And he called him by name, and he goes, he was signaling lateral.
Lateral. He sure did. I've said this over the years on national radio shows and even locally. People lose sight of the fact that there was a ref who actually called it a lateral from his vantage point.
And
based on the flight of football. And
that's
the other
thing. We probably would be in trouble.
Right. But that's the other thing. It's the flight of the ball is the rule. It is not the body position of the players.
I'm just saying, had they not called that a lateral on the field?
All the referees can't even get out of the building. They would not have been able to get out the building.
That goes back to the Pittsburgh Steelers play with Franco Harris, the Immaculate Reception.
Yeah.
I mean, the story is, and John Madden told this, that the officials called up and said, how much security you got in here? And they told him, and he said, it's not enough. Touchdown.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. That'd be hard to get out of there at the building that time.
All right, more of your reaction. Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. Story time is over with us. We'll talk more about the Titans' loss. Again, out of the playoffs officially. Guaranteed losing season for the second year in a row. They now sit at 5-9. 615-737-1045. Lee Company, Titans Talkback, Brent, Dougherty, the Doctor, Kevin Dyson with you. Getting your reaction. Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. Done with the playoffs. They're out. Second consecutive losing season guaranteed. Best they can do is 8-9. 3 games to go. 5-9 is the record. Just to clean up some of the Music City Miracle discussion, we were talking about Frank Wycheck and your relationship to him, and of course on that play. When you catch that pass, what's going through your head when you look up the sideline?
Run, baby, run. No,
you saw a pretty clear path, though, right?
I did. I think prior to when they called my name sidelines to go in, they were going through the gist of the play. It was, hey, get what you can get out of bounds. And a lot of people don't realize I wasn't supposed to be the lateral guy. That was actually supposed to be Isaac Bird. I was supposed to get in pitch relationship with him. So if he got in trouble, he pitched to me, and I get what I can get. Well, of course, the design to play didn't work out that way, whereas I just got the ball. But initially, my first thought was, okay, where's my moment to get out of bounds? Because that's all we need was a field goal. And where is that moment to be safe and not fumble or whatever? And then the only person in front of me was Doug Christie. And I had a convoy. And once he went down, my next thought was, oh, I'm going to score. And we're talking milliseconds, right? Like, that's how fast it was all going. And I'm literally thinking all of that within seconds of one another. And sure enough, he went down. It was a wrap. Like I tell people all the time, I had the easiest part. I used what I was gifted, and that was my long legs, and I just ran.
And people don't know, don't remember, the sub 4.3 guy. One of the fastest guys in the NFL. I just know, much respect to athletes out there that can take that much of a chaotic, hectic, nerve-wracking moment with everything, the season on the line, and not get locked up along the way at some point. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I would have stumbled on my feet. And it's like public speaking for some people. You know what I mean? Like you get up there in front of a bunch of people and then you lock up.
Yep. And I used to be one of those people. Like I can play football or basketball in front of thousands, but you tell me speak in front of people like, oh, they used to.
It's much easier when so I had a buddy that's as high profile as you get in the media business. And he had a hard time with speaking engagements. And I'm not comfortable with them either, which sounds funny when you do the job that we do.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, just ask him to set up like a Q&A. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So me and you could go on tour and do a Q&A, and we'd both be comfortable. You know what I mean?
You know what? That would be easier.
Yeah.
Than to try to entertain people with some content.
Yeah.
Actually, Q&A wouldn't be bad.
Right? It's a good idea, right?
Do that.
So here's what makes me nervous every time I watch the replay of the Music City Miracle.
Uh-oh.
When you get down around the goal line, you take the ball out of your left hand and put it in your right hand while you're still running. And I'm like,
I crossed the plane, though.
It was right as you crossed the plane. And I was like, thank God he didn't drop it.
Nah, that wasn't even in the playbook, man. There's no way I dropped that ball. I didn't drop it even when I got tackled by my teammates. I held on to that thing, man.
Which leads us to the other part of that story is where did that football go? Because you let go of it.
Well, I didn't let go. I gave it to the equipment team.
Oh. I thought you threw it in the end zone.
Oh, heck no.
No, okay.
I held on to that. You said pictures. I'm still holding to that thing. And then on the sidelines, as we're kicking off again, I gave it to Joey. I think.
You gave it to Joey?
I think I gave it to Joey.
Yeah. Joey's still there.
Joey's still there. I think I gave it to him. And to put in the thing, tape it up, and whatever. But from there, I don't know. I know I have one in my house. The story is that they gave mine to the Adams family, and I have a different one. Or Frank has one. We don't know. So
Frank has one too?
Supposedly he had one as well.
Yeah.
But I have, from my recollection, I have the original. They have the.
So you're saying that Amy Adams Strunk has the fake one?
That's what I'm going off of. Mine is in a case with the gloves I was wearing.
Yeah.
Because that's the one I had, and I gave I believe Joey who I gave it to have it branded and
All
stuff.
Right, so we need to get Joey on. I'm sure he would love to get on the radio.
That's like Spygate or something like that. He's not going to tell the truth. He's going to let me believe he's going to say, yep, Kevin's got that one. He's going to tell Amy Adams, yep, he got that one.
615-737-1045. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Again, 615-737-1045. Your reaction. Titans fall 19-16, though they led 13-0. Kyle in Franklin, next up on Titans Talkback. Kyle, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
Dice, love you, man. Just appreciate you. You're just cemented into every moment as a Titans fan for me, and so is Frank Whitecheck. Awesome dude. You guys have always been approachable, and, hearts are breaking right now in Nashville, and love you guys.
Appreciate you, man.
I wanted to point out a little bit. You're welcome. I just want to point out I'm a little frustrated with Tannehill, and maybe I'm nitpicking, but I kind of saw him kind of smiling on the sidelines a little bit after Levis went out. And I'm not saying he was happy about it or anything, but it just frustrates me. Like, team guys need to be focused on who's going on and what's going on with their team. And I understand he's getting ready, but it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it real quick.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I noticed that, too. The thing about the sideline is you never know who says what to anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I kind of reserve judgment on that. What gets me, though, and this is way different today than when you played, is all the laughing and smiling after the game with player-to-player stuff and trading everything. And, I've heard Blaine talk about that. Like, no, I ain't giving you my jersey. I just lost 19-16 in overtime. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
But it's just a different generation, man.
Yeah, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't notice that. Maybe I wasn't looking for it. I don't know.
Right. But after games, like, all the guys, no matter what happens in a game, are typically outside of Mahomes the other day, who went at Josh Allen, who had nothing to do with Mahomes' problems. But
you got to have but he had his moment, and then after a while, you got to get on to the next one, and that's the nature of the business. And I remember my first couple of games, me and Samari was sitting there, and Samari and Kenny Holmes. And I think we were 4-4. Yeah, I think we were 4-4. And Samari, he was like, "Man, I've lost more games in these first 8 games I did my entire college career." I'm like, "Dang, that's saying something, right?"
Yeah.
And he was like watching the plane ride, and a lot of guys were just like over it already. And Kenny Holmes said to us, he said, "Man, I could just never get used to losing," because he also came from Miami, which didn't lose a lot at that time either, right? He said, I can never get used to losing. He said, I don't, and then he said, I don't want to get used to losing. And I was like, I don't either. I've just been a competitor my whole life. But in that environment, though, you can't hold on to that negativity for a long time. I mean, you can't hang and linger on a loss, because you have to go on to the next one.
Yeah. You
have to be able to go on to the next one. And some guys have done it more and are able to a lot sooner than others. And some, like I said, they just respond differently. But I didn't see Tannehill's smiling. And again, like you said, you never know. Maybe a coach cracked a joke at him and made him smile, told him relax, have fun. You're back in there, make sure we're trying to, you never know what was
Because I've brought that up before to, like, former players, coaches, or whatever, and then they say that. You have no idea what was said to him.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to judge. But, I mean, it happens after every game with both, like, the losing team players smiling with the other team players, and, like, that kind of irritates me. I'm too competitive for that. But we can smile after the season.
Well, you got to understand, a lot of these dudes played ball together at one point or another.
I know. But I just lost. Get out of here. Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Just making sure they're smiley. Time for the Kroger Sacks for Cash. Today, the Titans had 4 sacks, and Danico Autry had 2, again giving him 11 on the season, which is a career high. Good stuff on his part. Edmonds and Davidson both had sacks as well. Titans now have 52 on the year. That is $5,200 for Kroger Sacks for Cash. The donation to Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee now stands again at $5,200, courtesy of the 4 sacks today. Every time the Titans sack the opposing quarterback, Kroger donates $100 to Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee from Kroger. Through its Zero Hunger, Zero Waste plan, Kroger is committed to ending hunger in our community. 615-737-1045. Back to the phone. Christopher in Indianapolis. Christopher, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. From my couch, Obviously, we're a team that's hurt, struggling. But also, from my couch, it's very frustrating because I don't feel like our coaches, especially Tim Kelly, is adjusting that much.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of games where, we're doing good in the first half, but then the second half we come out and everything just drops. And you see the other team has adjusted, but we're still trying to run our heads against the wall. So just as a curiosity, is Vrabel a head coach that is one that's flexible enough to adjust, or is he one of those that is like, this is my system, I trust my system, and if the play doesn't work, it's not the play call, it's the player? So I'm just curious.
I think that's an interesting question, Christopher, and I'm going to look up the first half, second half stuff before 3HL tomorrow and talk about that. I haven't had a chance to do that, but that is something that we discussed earlier in this show that seems like it's going on, that the Titans do better in the first half. Remember, I said Miami was an outlier, but I think he's onto something there. Now, you thank you, Christopher, for the call up there in Naptown. You said, when he said it seems like Tim Kelly's not adjusting. Are you getting that feeling too?
So one of the most over-sensationalized words is halftime adjustments. For the most part, the halftime adjustments are a myth. What you do is you do what you've been doing better, right? And if the team adjusts to what you have been doing successfully, then you adjust to what that is. Oh, here's their move. Here's their counter move. Here's our counter move. So if you're having some success early, you don't come in and change what you've been practicing all week.
See, I think that's a good point, because in the NFL, more so than in college football, I think, but in the NFL, it's more like their adjustment, we adjust, their adjustment, we adjust, their adjustment. It's not like, we go in at halftime and put a second game plan in.
No, you've been working on the same game plan all week. Now, you might say, hey, I know all week we've been saying we're going to use a tight split on this route, but on the next time, I want you to put the split 3 yards outside the number and stem it in. It's the same route, stem it in 3 yards and then get vertical, then make your cut. It's the same thing. It's just that's the adjustment, right? It's the same play. Well, on the flip side of that, defensively, say, hey, when they line up in this set, there's the plays they're running this week. Now we're gonna blitz off at this edge and see how they adjust to it. And then if they don't adjust to it, here comes the sack, or here comes the block punt, or here comes this. So that's, we talk about quote unquote adjustments, but essentially you're adjusting the whole game. That's the whole point. It's like playing chess. Someone makes a move, you got to counter move to that move, then you got to counter that move, and that's kind of how play callers go against one another. You put in a play based on statistical data and probability of what they do on down and distance and coverages versus certain formations. And then if they show you something different, which most people don't, because you got to be who you are. Most people don't. If they show you something different, you adjust. And then you adjust again, and then they adjust, and you adjust again. So I know a lot of people think about you go to halftime, you come out with a whole new game plan. That's not necessarily entirely the case.
Love it. 615-737-1045. Casey and Dixon. Casey, what's up?
What's happening, fellas?
Yo.
I just wanted to tell you, I've been a long-time fan of the Titans, especially you, Dr. Dyson, Frank Wycheck, of course, all you guys, Eddie, Harry McNair. I was always a defensive player. I love Javon Curse, the freak. Now, going into our offense now, I've said for a couple of years, Derrick Henry's a big guy. We all know he's a big guy, and he can move the chains. But we need a guy like Kyle Juszczyk from the 49ers. We need a fullback in there to help him out to maybe not only make that hole, but somebody in there to give him the north and south, because he is a north-south runner. He's not a sideline to sideline. That's my personal opinion, and I just think he needs the help because he's a big guy. But at the same time, we need that old-school running offense that just pounds the ball, puts it in their faces, and just keeps running. But we need somebody that's going to help Derrick out. I don't think Derrick's done. I don't think he's past his prime. Some of the guys think, he has to do all these moves and stuff. He's never done that. He's not going to do that. He's a big guy. He's a physical guy, but he just needs that that extra help through that first line of offense.
Appreciate you, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I said earlier, I think he's on the decline. I mean, and it makes complete sense given his age. That doesn't mean he can't be productive because he's still got the capability to get up over 100 yards. He's done it, 3 times this year?
He's obviously still a 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah, and, he's got some work to do. But, yes.
Maybe he's close to it.
875 coming in, so
Well, yeah.
884 now.
Yeah, we can't really count. But he was on pace for like 1,300 up until recent.
Yeah, last couple of games. So 17 for 34 against Miami, 16 for 9 today. That's 34 for 43.7 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of factors to that. As I mentioned, offensive line, we all know, is an issue. Also, they said on the TV broadcast, 50% of Derrick Henry's runs, he gets hit behind the line or at the line.
Yeah.
That's the fourth highest rate in the NFL, yet he is the third leading rusher in the NFL.
Now think about this. That stat you just gave. If you make a team become one-dimensional, meaning they cannot run the football, how much easier it is to defend the pass? Because now you force in their hand. You know what they're about to do. You pretty much have said, it's like you said, second and long, third and long. What are you doing? Well, they're about to throw. So now it's easier to devise a game plan and adjust, as we were talking about, when you've already created the scenario you want. That's the name of the game. And now if I can control the chains and I'm sitting here 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and I'm dictating you what I do, I can throw, I can pass, I can run, I can throw. Now I got you unbalanced. Now how do you adjust?
So does that make sense? Okay, so from a defensive standpoint, you look at the Titans differently when Spears comes in, right?
I think you have to.
Because so many more things are open.
And especially what he did last week in the passing game. I think he's showing
118 total yards last week.
And he's showing the ability of run after catch and catching the ball in the backfield. He's going to become a better route runner out of the backfield, meaning option routes and things of that nature, and get one-on-ones with linebackers. He's going to be a problem from that standpoint. I still don't think, and no disrespect to him, he's not a 3-down back. And not a lot of guys are anymore anyway, but what I mean by that is he's not toting the rock 20, 25 times a game. You know, he's get you 10, 15 carries, 5, 6 catches. That adds up to being about 20 touches a game, but how are those touches? Most of those are in space. That's not going between the tackles.
615-737-1045. Let's try Maxwell in Kentucky again. Maxwell, you there?
Can you hear me this time?
I got you, buddy. What's up, man?
All right, good. I just wanted to comment on the offensive line. I think this offseason, that's going to be the thing we're going to make the most moves on. Levis, if Levis turns out to be the quarterback of the future, we're probably going to have to do that because 7 sacks and 11 pressures, that's a little too many, if you ask me. And also, I really think next year, if we do anything, DeAndre Hopkins, his position at first wide receiver, depending on whatever he does for the rest of this year and in the preseason next year, you never know if he's still going to be wide receiver 1 or if we're going to sign somebody out of free agency. And also, what in the world was the running game today? Derrick Henry was held to almost nothing. And, this is just not good. Like I said, offensive line problems. So if I was the head coach, I would probably have Derrick Henry just back there blocking guys instead of running it because this is just unbearable. and also, there are a few options that I think Will Levis couldn't make because I saw a few open people while he was making passes that he didn't throw to. And I think the reason was because he was being pressured too fast. So all failures kind of lead to offensive line.
Thank you, Maxwell. Rack him, Jackson. I mean, he was dead up, straight up, right on like everything he just said.
There he was. You know, what's funny is, man, you talked to a lot of young fans. They're in tune. They pay attention, bro. They know names, stats. Yeah. Some of the young cats, man, they smarter than me.
Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. More of your reaction. Titans fall 19-16 in overtime to the Houston Texans. Texans have won 2 out of 3 against the Titans now. 615-737-1045. Lee Company Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson. Love the jersey, man. The white 89.
Yeah. You know that was for. They asked me what color, and actually we wanted the Oilers jersey, but they're so popular they didn't have any in our sizes left. The Oilers throwbacks, so we went with the current jersey, and we chose white.
I like it. You mentioned the season where you wore white all year.
Yeah.
So
as the Oilers, we did, man.
There you go.
I don't know. Yeah, man. It's a little surreal. It was kind of the final door closing in that chapter of a long week.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, it's been. I hate the way it's happened, but it's gotten a lot of people together for the first time in years. Like,
that's what happens, man.
I saw Bruce Matthews, man.
Oh, really?
Bruce Matthews was here. Hadn't seen
Wayne
him.
calls him the living legend.
Man, hadn't seen him in 20-something years.
So
Well,
I've heard stories about
20
him, and I was talking with Jeff Fisher about this. Like Bruce Matthews would create a game, like out of anything.
Oh, he's
because
he
just wanted to compete and beat you, and like shooting garbage, shooting crushed up paper into a garbage can or something. Like I don't know.
It's crazy, man. Like that dude was drafted in '83. I was drafted in '98. And I played with him. And Keith Bullock's like, I played with him. I was drafted in 2000. And, we were like, dang, Aaron Kinney was here. He was like, I played with him. Like, we were like.
EK was here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Aaron, I mean, a lot of media people, radio personalities, TV, newspaper, coaches, Alan Lowry, Les Steckel, Jeff Fisher. I mean, just a lot of people came in, man. Just
That's good.
Pay their respects and just talk, man. Just because a lot of us, I think it comes back to, I think we all take for granted tomorrow, and a lot of us are here. And so it's like, well, I'll catch up tomorrow, or we'll catch up at the next event or what have you. And, and then you realize you run out of tomorrows sometimes. And we ran out of tomorrow with Frank. And I think if nothing else, from the conversation, the reflection from a lot of people that shared Thursday night, Friday, and things, man, I think that was one of the things that came from is like, man, we just can't let something like this be the reason why we get together every once in a while.
Should be for a better reason.
Yeah.
Jeff said it's amazing how similarly you and I look at life because it's like I don't know about you, but like there's nothing more frustrating than if I reach a point in my life where I feel like I'm spinning my wheels.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like I'm wasting time because we only have a certain amount of days on this earth.
Yeah, man.
And so like I want to move forward. You know, like how do you move forward?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That comes with age, man. I don't know if I had been like this even 5 years ago. Maybe a little longer than 10. Definitely not that 10 years ago, but just comes with age and experience, man.
So when you hit like your mid-40s, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you start going through some changes and some personal changes, mental changes. You start being more reflective on what's important to you, man. And truth be told, man, I don't think I shared this on your show, man. First of all, we're 40. I'm 48. I forget how old you are. 44.
I'm 50.
You're 50. Oh, you're older than me. You're 50.
Yeah.
So technically, we're in midlife right now, or beyond, right? Depending on. But truth
God
be told,
help us if I hit 100,
I'm well beyond midlife compared to the statistical data.
Yeah.
The
That's right.
average life expectancy of a professional football player is 56, just over 56.
Is that right?
56 years old.
Wow.
Now think about that. We've lost 4 teammates. Wow. One was 52. We already lost 4 teammates, and I've lost more teammates in college as well. Well before that. That's just on the college side of things. So it's just above 56 years old.
That's sobering,
right?
Jeff said this about Frank, and I want to get your take on this. He said, "You know what? Because we were talking about Frank and remembering him and all of those things, and he said, you know what Frank would want us doing right now, talking about him? He'd want us to like give him crap and talk about the game coming up. And and that game, this was Monday.
Yeah.
We had Jeff Fisher on talking about the Dolphins game. He was like, he'd want you breaking down the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
And then Jeff said, when I asked him to break down the Dolphins game, he said, I wouldn't want to play the Titans. And we all looked at each other like, what? And I told Zeph, who was producing, I was like, clip this, because he went through this thing about how the Titans would beat the Dolphins. And so we replayed it the next day a couple of times.
And he did it, and they did. Yep.
615-737-1045. Your reaction. Titans fall to the Houston Texans 19-16 in overtime. Dustin in Kentucky. Dustin, what's up?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Good.
So I texted you in a little bit earlier. I'm going to read it out. The problem is the predictable play calling on first down. We played with 3 downs and 13 yards to go when we let Levis throw.
Yep.
I said it about 15 times to the crowd on first down. Oh, let me guess. Henry up the middle. It's amazing what Levis does with this predictable OC. Henry's fine, but this line doesn't compliment him right now. Spears hits holes faster. Henry is your third down and goal line back. We are putting our rookie quarterback in a hole to dig out of every series. It's freaking nuts. Then, finally, you lose the lead. Then you lose I don't know what I said there. Predictive text. Then you let Levis throw. Then you open the playbook, ? After you've gave those players no reps, ice cold. If this OC isn't fired, it's because Levis' dog mentality gets him out of bad play calling. Spears is the future. It's his torch to carry. Use Henry right. The OC has to go. And, man, I feel like y'all said, the Titans are right there knocking on the door. And if you think about it, they've been right there in most games other than about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville game and Cleveland game they were totally out of. But I feel like this bad, predictable play calling, you're trying to protect your quarterback with Henry. But when you put him back 13, 17 yards. How many times today were we 2nd and 17 and 3rd and 17? You're putting your quarterback in a must-throw situation. Now they knew you were running Henry. Now they know Levis has to throw the dang ball. And what are they going to do? They're coming for him because they know that line.
Yep, and they get to him 7 times and hit him 11 more times. So that's 18 out of 37 dropbacks.
And guess what? Levis is a gift to this OC. Because if it weren't for Levis, this dude may have been fired a long time ago because he's gifted. Now, he's still a rookie, and he made a lot of dang mistakes.
Yeah.
But he puts Levis's back against the wall, and I think he's going to get him hurt just running Henry the way he does, so predictable. I'll hang up, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go through it. I'll do it before 3HL, but, like, in terms of first down play calling and what that leaves you on second down.
I'm kind of counting right now. I'm seeing, like, 2nd and 12.
Well, if you go in the first drive, it's interesting on the first drive, 3 of the 4 first downs, they run Henry. Yeah. And they end up with, to your point, Dice, 2nd and 7, and they overcome all this.
Yeah, they did.
But in the first drive, it was basically the same as the whole game. They just happened to overcome it on this drive. But 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 13.
2nd and 9, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 8, 13.
Whoa. That's second and behind the sticks, like a lot.
That's a lot. It's hard. And again, and Vrabel's a statistical guy, right? And he's a field position, possessions.
Yeah, and he thinks third down percentage comes with third and what? Third and whatever.
I would say short mediums, like 3, 4.
Yeah, he wants 3rd and 5 or less. Yeah. And he said if you're that, your third down percentage comes up.
Goes up.
Which makes sense. But, like, how do you get there?
Mm-hmm. There's another one, 2nd and 17.
Third down efficiency, Texans were 4 of 15, Titans were 5 of 15. It felt like the Texans were better than that. I know they had 1 3rd and 15 where they ran the ball for 14 yards and then went for it on 4th down and got it. Yeah. So that really is a conversion, even though it's not.
But the look of it all, the feel, the sense of it all.
Titans went for it on 4th down, too, deep in their own territory, which was odd. And no quarterback sneak either. Which you're running a running back that gets hit behind the line 50% of the time on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
They got it.
They got it, though.
615-737-1045. Let's see who is next. Let's go to Kevin in Kentucky. Kevin, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
What up, man?
I ain't not much. I think the big problem the Titans seem to be having the last few weeks has been their defense. They've given away so many pieces. You know, you have running backs like Zach Moss, who was platooning with Singletary a couple of years ago. He went for 161. And Singletary today, he went for, 124?
126, I think. I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah.
No, 121. 26 carries, 121 yards.
And it's like they're just running right through them. It seems like they've given away too many pieces on defense to, I don't know, almost be competitive right now. I'd like to get y'all opinion on that. Have they given away too much this season?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
At moments. At moments, I felt like,
in terms of roster, there's going to be all kinds of roster.
You're talking about like with Kevin and all the things.
So this is going to be. I'm serious. This is going to be one of the more entertaining off seasons that we've seen from this organization because they have $90+ million in salary cap space. They're number 2 in the NFL in salary cap space. Yeah. So they do have money to spend. They also will have what is it, Smiley? A number 9 draft pick right now? If the draft were today?
Draft was today, they'd be picking 9th.
9. So top 10 draft pick theoretically. Mm-hmm. Now that you're out of the playoffs, do they win out? Like, I would be shocked. So probably going to end up with that top 10 draft pick.
To me, the most interesting part of this that I'm anxious to see is he made a lot of moves as far as coaching staff last year. He already made one chess move by firing off your special teams coordinator and Craig Ackerman.
Mm-hmm.
You've already said, okay, that's not good enough. Now, based on where you finish statistically, offensive and defensively, and based on the production or lack thereof in your offensive line, based on where your star running back has gone or not gone there, your secondary, who is jumping on these swords from a coaching perspective? Is he going to make changes again? Because
I think that's definitely happening, right?
And he made several last year.
Back-to-back losing seasons, back-to-back without the playoffs. I mean, you have to make some moves, right?
But then the conventional thing, it says in order to be better, you got to have consistency. And part of that is consistent coaching staff. So do you keep your coach staff and bring in some consultants like they did with Jim Schwartz or things like that? I don't know. That's what I'm interested to see. The players part of it, players going to come and go. Draft picks, of course, we're all interested to see what they do. But, but who is the one developing the players and putting the players in the best position to be successful?
It's a good point on Schwartzy because the defense looked a little different when he was in the building.
Yeah. So do you bring somebody in like that to another set of eyes on either side of the ball or both sides of the ball?
I don't think that's ever a bad thing in whatever business you're in to have another pair of eyeballs.
Yeah.
Like just different ideas.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Lead Company, all you need. Visit them online at leadcompany.com. Your reaction, Titans lose 19-16, out of the playoffs, and guaranteed their second consecutive losing season. 615-737-1045. Titans Talkback presented by Lee Company. Appreciate you being with us. Titans drop a tough one today, 19-16 in overtime. Led 13-0 early in the second quarter. From then on, 19-3 by Case Keenum and the Houston Texans. That's tough. Guaranteed losing season. If they win out, they're 8-9, 7-10 last year, and definitely out of the playoffs. 615-737-1045. Your reaction. Brent Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson with you. Let's take as many phone calls as we can. Chris in Lewisburg next up. Chris, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Yo, good.
Hey, now that the season is officially over, we got to start looking forward. And the thing about it is, for 3 years in a row now, this offensive line has been pathetic, and it's really gotten worse each year. And coming into the season, thinking guys like Radens and Freer and Brewer and Daly and Dillard and all these guys are going to be quality starters, they've just totally failed it. And it doesn't matter who the quarterback is back there. You're going to get him killed eventually. In the last year, 3 quarterbacks have been injured, Tannehill twice and Levis once now. And it's just gotten to be unexcusable. And if I was Amy, I would go to Mike and Rand and say, look, guys, we have got to fix this. And even if we got to go outside, if I was Amy, I'd be on the phone gauging Mike Munchak's interest. There's somebody that you can bring in that can evaluate talent and get these guys coached up to play, because today they were getting thrown around like rag dolls. And this has to be fixed. Now, the silver lining is that you found Will Levis that looks like he could be the franchise guy. But you have to get this fixed. And 3-4 years in a row now, just horrible offensive line play. And then the second issue is the secondary, which has been going on for 2-3 years too. You've got to get these areas fixed.
Totally agree with you. There's no question about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Titans have given up 50 sacks this year. That is fifth worst in the NFL. They gave up 49 all of last season, which was also fifth worst in the NFL. So they're going to zoom past that number. But, yeah, that's an issue. What about the secondary? Sometimes it's hard to tell on the secondary when there's not much pass rush. And they did get to Case Keenum 4 times, but I think for the most part, it's a pretty clean pocket for him today.
Yeah, he wasn't overly pressured. I thought there was a couple of times where he made the right decision and extended plays, getting out the pocket, and guys were chasing from behind. He, avoided sacks. But I guess we can look how many quarterback hurries and pressures they had. But secondary-wise, I still think you got to see guys be more competitive at the point of attack on the ball, making plays, coming down with some of those 50-50 balls a little bit more often than they have been. But they're competing. We got to get a little more aggressive at the point of attack of the football from my vantage point. But that all helps with a pass rush. I mean, it's hard to knock them today when you got a pick 6 in your back pocket.
Definitely true. Secondaries are always better when there's consistent pass rush.
Yeah.
And they did get to him 4 times. Autry had 2 sacks. One big one I thought was a huge one that would give the Titans a chance to win the game. Came on a 3rd down, and he took Case Keenum down at the 5-yard line. They end up with the punt return where Mason Kinsey gets knocked out of bounds and then hit out of bounds, and it's not called, which would have given the Titans the ball at the 46-yard line, I think. And they only needed a field goal at that point, so that would have been a huge call that was not made. 615-737-1045. Rick in Nashville next up on Titans Talkback. Rick, what's up?
Yeah, boy, and it's a pleasure talking to you guys. I didn't realize I was going to be this long on the phone, though. Do you have any idea? How long people wait?
Rick, we've taken 15 phone calls so far. I'm doing the very best I can.
I
know. I know,
pleasure
man.
to talk to you guys.
Listen,
and,
here's
really
the thing, Rick, and
is...
I love and respect you. But if you don't have the ability to hold that long, then don't. It's okay. I'm taking people in order that they've been holding.
Well, anyway, my comments are just reiterating what everybody has said, the defense, I shout out to Levis. He did a great job. And DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is just fabulous, and the Titans don't have anything to hold their heads down about. But I do have a couple of comments with the Titans because I go way back, and sorry also to hear about the passing of Frank Wycheck as well,
yes,
as everyone else is. But I go back to the miracle run Kevin did years ago with Steve and also Steve McNair in the beginning of the season. But the thing with the Titans, it seems like they always go down to the wire with games where they could be further ahead, and it can go either way, and it feels like they let it get so close at the very end. That's one thing. I'm a lay person, and I don't get into all the intricacies of everything. But the other thing, I feel like Vrabel should throw a flag out every once in a while because I see these instant replays, and it looks like the guy's feet were in, but the flag wasn't thrown out. And that's happened last week, as I remember. That's one thing, and that's pretty much all I really have to say.
Okay, thank you, Rick. I'm sorry that you had to wait. Was I being too hard on him?
No, I get it, man. And think
it's out of respect, but I mean, like, everybody's waiting, man. Like, we're doing the best we can to cover what just happened, to share our thoughts on it, to intersperse with phone calls, because we do appreciate you guys calling in, and this is a reaction show, and we do the best we can.
Yeah, and we got people waiting right now.
Yeah.
And he had a lot to unpack there, and I think he said a lot, but one thing is, I think one thing that you cannot knock Vrabel for is his management of the game and understanding of rules and manipulating them to his advantage. I think if there's one thing he does well, is that he understands that and being calculated. Now, if he's not throwing a flag, either he's thinking longevity as far as keeping that potential timeout one way or the other, or he doesn't have anybody in that box that gives him a conclusive decision one way or the other for him to want to throw it. So that's, so that everything else is subjective, and you can make an argument for him and adjustments and things of that nature and coordinators and fire and all that. But that right there, I think of all things that he doesn't do well, one of the things he does do well is understanding the concept of the rules and manipulate them to his advantage.
Yeah, so his guy in the box is his guy Stretch.
Yes.
That is looking at all of those replays and stuff. So
yes,
it's not like he's intentionally not throwing the flag because he thinks that it'll be overturned and he doesn't want it overturned. I mean, it's like, what I mean?
It's a game. I need those timeouts.
You need the timeouts. Yeah. 615-737-1045 at the Titans Talkback with presented by Lee Company. Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. Stan is in Brentwood. Stan, what's up? How are you?
Hey, what's up?
Yo, Stan, what's up, man?
Yeah, real quick, and I'm not that much of a student of it. I did play defensive line in college, but I'm thinking Danico Autry is as good as or a touch better than Simmons at this point. He's available. He's got more sacks. Simmons wasn't in there taking up double teams today, and the guy had 2 sacks.
Yeah, that's incredible.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think about that?
Well, I mean, it's tough to analyze, right? Dice, because you're talking about 2 different positions. So technically, like, that defensive tackle spot is usually a spot held for a guy that's big that can keep offensive linemen off linebackers. So if you can get a guy that can also penetrate and be a dominant force, then that's something else. It's harder to get sacks from inside.
And he's also a guy in this league that warrants double teams a lot.
No one was double teamed more in the NFL last year than Jeffrey Simmons.
Exactly. And that frees you up another guy one-on-one, and you're supposed to win more often than they win.
Right. To his point, though, that's what makes Danico Autry's performance today so amazing to me, is that Jeff wasn't.
He wasn't playing.
And Tier Tart wasn't out there.
And he got 2 sacks out of it.
Yep. 615-737-1045. Brian in Nashville next up on Titans Talkback. Brian, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Yo.
I'm just want to say how y'all doing, and I like the 89 on the Wycheck helmet today. That was a real good tribute to
That's classy by the franchise.
That was cool.
Yeah, yeah. To me, man, the coaching staff not making adjustments. I mean, I understand you make adjustments for the game, but when you see that your your offensive line is like wet tissue and they getting pushed back, bull rushed. I mean, they double team one time and still got Henry hit in the backfield. You can't protect nobody like that. And as far as the defensive line, Archer is a good player. I think he's going to be good if Simmons there too. But Landry, I just think after that injury, he don't have that same speed. You know, I think he's kind of waiting, and we're not getting pressure third down. We're not getting pressure on the quarterback. He's just back there sitting and just waiting on third down. We rush every other down, but we kind of let him sit back there. But, you know, I'll just get off the line and let y'all talk. But I appreciate y'all, and y'all do some good information.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, and I appreciate the call. And I'll say this about adjustments again. Look at, and he said it, that was an adjustment. Adjustment was, we're going to double this guy in essence, and the other guy's got to pick up the slack on the other side. There has been adjustments, maybe to even the layman's eye or even to mine or guys that are watching it holistically because they got to talk about it like we do. We might not see some of the adjustments from series to series, play to play that they are doing. But there has been times where you've seen the running back chip the defensive end because he's trying to help the offensive tackle with the rush. We've seen them adjust some protection, some slide, and running back picks up the backer as opposed to the lineman. You've seen them double team some guys. So there are some in-game adjustments that they're doing, that they're trying to find things that work. But it's hard to find things that work when they are getting beat mano a mano more often than not.
For sure. 615-737-1045, 615-737-1045. We were watching the Hail Mary at the end of the Bears-Browns game. Should have been a touchdown. I mean, all the way in his belly, Mooney laying on the ground and then bobbles it and does not come up with the catch, and the Browns win.
Kicks it up for the Browns to get a pick.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a tough one. Yeah. When we come back, we'll take the Eurofix look ahead. We'll take a look at the Seahawks and Titans matchup next and take more of your phone calls. 615-737-1045. This is Titans Talkback presented by Lee Company. Lee Company Titans Talkback, Brent, Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson with you up until Sunday Night Football. Ravens at Jaguars. That point spread has popped up to 4. Ravens favored by 4 over the Jags. Tonight, Westwood 1 coverage begins at 6:30. We've got you covered until that point. Seahawks, the next opponent, they play Philadelphia on Monday, so they'll have the short week and a long trip coming here this week. This is the Eurofix look ahead to next week's opponent. The look ahead presented by Eurofix. Let me remind you that Eurofix repairs anything European that you drive in below dealer pricing. ASE certified technicians, a local company that has serviced Middle Tennessee for more than 2 decades. Visit EurofixOnline.com. Next week, the Titans host the Seattle Seahawks. That is coming up on Sunday. Again, like, how tough is that to go short week? You play Monday night, and then you travel from West Coast to the Central Time Zone. Is there an effect there?
A little bit. Just that recovery time. Your body gets used to somewhat of a routine and recovery, even as much as the days you lift, the times you rehab, the practice schedules shifted, and all the things. So, yeah, there's a little bit. Your body gets used to the routine, and short weeks kind of throw you off that routine. A lot of times guys are not necessarily feeling right, if you will, and you never feel completely right when you get into season, but until Friday. So you think about, you play Sunday, you're not really feeling good about yourself until Friday. Saturday is kind of a walkthrough day, and you play Sunday. So if you cut that week short, then you're talking really,
and have to travel across the country.
You're talking. By the time you start to feel good, you got to play a game, and you're still not feeling right all the way. So it's a process, man. You got to learn, especially for young guys, how to take care of your body, get the treatment, even if you don't need to get massages, acupuncture, all the things, man. You do some of everything, man. Diet. One thing I wish I'd have paid close attention to when I was a young athlete was a diet. I could eat anything I wanted when I was a kid and didn't have to worry about it, but I didn't know how that was going to affect me as far as my health and inflammation and all the things.
Recovery.
Yeah. How that could have helped if I'd been paying attention to that more. I just thought, shoot, I don't gain weight, so I can eat anything I want to, but not realizing it had adverse effects on my recovery.
Early look at the weather next Sunday: high of 61, low of 49, 41% chance of rain on Sunday in Nashville. So Titans fall 19-16 in overtime. They look good, though, in those uniforms.
I love them.
Now get ready, Titans fans, because Texans fans are going to be on your neck about they should have won those uniforms now.
No. That's a completely different franchise.
I'm not saying they're
rote.
I'm not saying they're right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you're going to hear it.
They're in the same city. It's not the same franchise.
It's not the same franchise. No. I don't even understand the argument.
That's not even an argument. That's not even – I don't even know. The same ownership that owned this, the same family owned this in the 60s, the same ownership that's owned it now in 2023.
Yeah, so the Dallas Cowboys used to be the Dallas Texans. What uniforms can they wear?
Exactly. Should you wear the star in your helmet on some days too? So they use the name Texans? No, that's not even close.
I love it. You're kind of fired up about
man,
that.
Just
I just think it's dumb. You're like mad.
Well, I mean, because like the argument with the Browns not really being the real Browns are in Baltimore. No, I mean, that's different. Now, if they came back as the quote-unquote Houston Oilers when we moved to the Titans, like the Browns came back to Cleveland as the Browns and the Browns went to Baltimore, became the Ravens, okay, that's different. Then if we're wearing them, that's just disrespectful because now there is an Oilers franchise in Houston, but
That's right.
You're a whole different franchise.
What do you anticipate from that matchup? Geno Smith is currently listed as questionable for the Monday Nighter. He's been dealing with a groin injury. Also, Jamal Adams, everything safety, is listed as questionable for the Monday Nighter. It's interesting. Seattle started hot. And
cooled off a lot of bit.
Yeah, now they've lost 4 in a row. And Drew Lock, former Missouri quarterback, actually played last week in the loss to San Francisco. He was 22 of 31, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I think this is more about what is Tennessee made of? What are the Titans made of? Because now everything's off the table. The playoffs are done.
The playoffs done. And I think even for Seattle, they're in that conversation.
The conversation because the NFC's all jumbled up.
Yeah. But again, like you said, you may not be playing for playoffs, but there's some things that maybe not to that level, but pride and potential rewards at the end of the season are enough to be competitive and try to win football games. And for every professional athlete that goes out there, they all have that sense of pride and competitive nature that they want to win football games. So they're definitely going to go out there and trying to win every game that they play. Just a matter of matchups and right kind of game plan versus the opponent. You know, they pose to Seattle. They pose a lot of problems. They got one of the biggest, fastest receivers that this NFL has ever seen. Metcalf is a big old fast dude. He's not a technician when it comes to route runner, but
he's a beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
he's hard. Now, if you can slow his roll and get some guys be aggressive and physical with him, you can have some success against him. But that's been far and few between.
Yep, that is coming up next Sunday, which is Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
how about that? That is our look ahead presented by Eurofix. I'm curious, as a former wide receiver, good to see Treylon Burks have some productivity today, 3 for 62.
I loved it. He got involved early because we had talked about last week how he was just out there just conditioning. Seemed like he wasn't even in the progression. Like he was just doing clear out routes just to say he was out there. And to actually see him get involved today and show his hand strength and ability to separate a little bit, that was good to see. Hope they continue to build on that because I think with him and the other 3 guys that have been Keenan Moore and, of course, D-Hop, I think adding another guy like him, another big body, another big feature can only help Levis in his growth.
The other thing from a receiver standpoint, what about Chris Moore's catch where he goes over the top of the defender and takes it right out of his hands?
He mossed him a little bit.
Yeah. On his head, as the kids say.
Because remember, we talked about him in the preseason. Maybe it was me and Lucas, and we talked about how he was showing and his ability to make plays, and Vrabel spoke about him a lot in the preseason. And so you look at where he's been doing this year, he's been kind of their big play guy. He's been kind of their guy that's going to go make big plays for him. He's averaging right at about, 18, 19, maybe 20 yards a catch?
20 yards a catch.
20 yards a catch. Mm-hmm. He's been their big play guy. He's been kind of a pleasant surprise. He's a guy I think they're going to continue to develop as part of what they want to do going forward with this offense.
The other thing is Will Levis came in to the game leading the AFC in yards per completion. And he averaged – so going into the Miami game, he was 11.7, which led the AFC from the moment he took over, okay?
Uh-huh.
Number 7 in the NFL, yards per completion. It was like 11.7. He went for 14.2 against Miami. And then today he was 11.7. So he's still going to be up there with regard to that. That shows you that that's a quarterback with no time at all and is getting battered, who's still not afraid to stand in there and allow those routes to develop and push the ball down the field.
That's tell you.
Can you imagine what that guy could do if he did have a clean pocket and was confident in the fact that he had a clean pocket? Because every time that ball snapped, he's thinking, I guarantee you, I'm about to get blasted.
And think about the throws he has missed that could have elevated that statistic up a little bit too. Like one today, there was a home game, he missed one. D-Hop was scot-free, and he came underneath and tried to throw one in traffic. So think about the ones he has missed.
Future's bright. So what do you think about him now that we're, 8 games in?
I like where he's going.
What
I like
about
where
the
he's
ceiling
trending.
for him?
Yeah, I love where he's trending. I think you continue to see his maturation and
He doesn't look like a rookie quarterback.
No, he's starting to look like a guy that's comfortable and confident in the captain's chair, like in driving the ship, man. And he's you can see he's processing and learning at a fast clip. He still makes mistakes. Today was a big one. That was a big one. That pick. That was. Yeah. And I saw the play unfold the whole time. I was like, he's not going to throw that. Oh, he's going to throw it.
They got 3 points out of that too.
And they got 3 points out of that. And look at that game. Look at how that translates into the win-loss column. But anyway, I love where he's going with it. I think he's just going to get better with the experience. He's got to continue to get experience. He's got to continue to watch and see what defenses do. I want to see what he is from game 1 to game 2 of division games, because what does he learn? Because there's some changes in as far as game plan, but not a whole lot. You just try to beat the guys with your playbook, and they try to beat you, and you try to not to make the same mistakes. So we'll see how he continues to progress, man. But I hope he's healthy enough to play, because I think he needs the reps.
Ravens and Jaguars coming up. Ravens a 4-point favorite in that game. The number 1 seed right now in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson still presenting problems for every defense he faces.
He's a problem. And he's not even running. He's not even running the ball anymore. And he's still a problem. I tell you how good he potentially has been. And they didn't want to pay that man.
Nobody wants to pay anybody.
Nobody wants to pay anybody.
But then sometimes they get paid. Usually most of the time. We'll see if Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill get paid by somebody. Appreciate you being with us. Sorry if you had to wait on the phones. Nature of the business. Listen to Zone all day on Monday. Get your reaction. Appreciate Jackson producing. And we certainly appreciate Titans Radio. Good night. God bless. Thanks, Doc.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, y'all.